Don't forget to go down in the description below to check out all the discounts and reductions and special offers available for different softwares. Thank you. Clearly, this image is not only underexposed. Let me show you a bit more closer, the histogram. Here is it. You can see that the histogram looks pretty underexposed in this side. However, it's really noisy, and it's a Micro Four Third sensor, specifically EM5. So obviously that's an old sensor, Micro Four Third. Everything is wrong and not very ideal for under in a dark situation. However, I took it anyway. I cranked the ISO up as much as I possibly could, and this is the result. And because it's an image from aquarium, you can see that you have this crazy blue tint going on. So I would go first and then start with the color, because you know the color impact a lot when it comes to even luminosity. So I'm going to go to raw white balance, and there I'll try this underwater. So I'm going to go and then compare side by side, before and after. So we are kind of okay. I mean, this is quite acceptable. Now I'm going to see the change when I actually try to, work on the contrast. Now I will bump the exposure up just a bit. Not really necessarily the shadow, but I will pull back the dark area. It makes the fish and this little structure stands out, and then I will bump up the midtone a little bit. You can either do that, or you can actually use this tone curve right there. Either you can go to linear, and then you can do linear contrast, for instance. I would go for medium contrast, and let's see the result. You see that. Then what you can do, I can bring back the black thing, just a notch, and see the difference. Now this is pretty much awesome. So that's the before and after. So you can see that this is more or less, I would say, acceptable result. Now, what is missing is a little bit of punch. Apologies for that. A little bit of punch. So first thing I want to do is to do some crop. My crop would be 1 by 1, probably a little bit more, so unconstrained, and I will pull it a little bit on the left and the right, because I like the structure anyway. So maybe that's about nice, because I don't need the tail of the tails of the fish. I prefer it. That's the beginning and that's the end. So that looks quite all right for me. And then close. Looks pretty well framed, in my opinion. Now we can work on a little bit of contrast as well, bit of a micro contrast, a bit of a fine contrast. So you can bump up the contrast, but you can clearly see that every single change is the noise here. My goodness, this is so ugly. So good thing is that we are in DXO Photolab, where it has state of the art noise reduction. So we're gonna get to it there, but I would like to do the necessary changes first. I want to bump the midtone quite a bit, and the black probably a bit more. In this way, I would probably get away with too much shadow in the dark area, I think. And what else? And then probably a little bit more exposure, I would say. And I would like to see add some more temperature to work on the tint, the blue tint. And I don't know if I should get to, you know, to the magenta area or the green area. I would probably stick to just one. It just looks flat now. I need some color. So we're going to get to the color in a bit. I'll probably use the vibrancy here. And it looks quite colorful now. Now, one thing I would like to taste is the horizon. So I think the horizon looks pretty okay in my opinion. How about the perspective? Not much of a change anyway. So that's done. And, you know, I'm still slightly not satisfied with the amount of the punchiness. Still missing some punch in my opinion. I still need some more. So what if I work with my curve, punch it up a bit, and then pull the shadow section down and add even more contrast. And now I think we can say we have some punches. I can pull down the highlight. So again, let's do before. You ready? 3, 2, 1. After. So obviously we still are not working with the noise. So I'm going to go to the place where, you know, we are all waiting for. I will turn on the denoise first. This is the high quality. Let's see the change of the high quality. You know that it's not very amazing. Am I right? So in this case, I would like to turn on the deep frame. Right, and it's going to do its magic in a moment. And I think it's already did. What I would like to see the result. So result should be somewhere. Let's try here. So it might take some time. If you look at the bottom, you can see that it takes some time. There you go. Now it's done. So before, after. Again, hold on. That's it. Now it's missing a little bit of sharpness, right? But that's totally okay, because all you have to do is to go up somewhere sharp area, maybe the face of the fish, give it some time. And instead of 200%, obviously it's a little bit too much in my opinion, do 100%, you know. And then turn on unsharp mask. And you are good to go. Now let's try to see the final result. The final result should be in any moment. I'm going to export it to my desktop, which is, hang on a second, I pull it up. Oh, not this one. The palettes, and then export to disk. And there, I'm going to just export in the same folder. I think that's quite obvious. The original image folder. Probably not. I'm going to, you know, export into desktop, just for the sake of not taking a hassle. And I'll make sure that it's decent quality. But when it comes to size, I'll probably push it up to a little bit bigger than usual. In that case, 2500 of pixel, and export. It's going to take some time. I'm going to show you here the result. And depends on your computer, it might take really long or really short. So you can skip ahead, or you can watch how long it takes. You can do some meditation or breathing practice with me. It's called the Wim Hof breathing exercise. That's actually good for your health. I do that very often. And it's done. So let's zoom out. I would like to show you before and after, even without the noise reduction. So before and after. So you see that with this crazy amount of grain, it quite looks pretty, artistic, kind of retro, in my opinion. It's not technically perfect, but it's still, to me, a beautiful image. Look at this. That's before, and this is what gives it. I would print it as it is without even doing any noise reduction. But let's see what it gives with after the noise reduction. So I'm going to go to desktop. There, and where is my image? There you go, the result of it. You see that it looks a little bit plasticky, in my opinion. You see that a little bit plasticky. It's because, of course, it's a heavy, noisy image. Plus, I underexposed, so obviously, I compromised too much here. So it was already underexposed. Plus, I manually exposed it on post-production. Ideally, you want to at least make sure whether or not it's noisy image, the exposure is right. In that case, you get a better quality image. I did plenty of tests. Trust me, every time my image was super noisy, however, that was already by the sensor, when I was taking it, was well exposed. The quality after noise reduction is much better. So don't be in this case. In this case, it looks slightly plasticky. To combat that, you could always go to, if you have film pack, then you can go to effects and go down to grain and color negative film, I would say. And then I would say Fuji Kodak Actor. And you can always add a lot of grain and make sure that it's for which format. Normally, it's not for a medium format. I would go for 24 by 36 size. And let's try it again. I would add some creative vignette. So before, after, and then just a touch. And then export again and overwrite. I'll go back to, normally it shouldn't take too long this time because it's already been rendered when it comes to noise reduction. So what happens is that by using the grain of film pack, or if you have different software, you can always use the different software if you want. That will help you to, make the image a bit more realistic. So hang on a second. I'm going to zoom in and then I'll breathe. Keep breathing, do some meditation. And it's done. It was quick. Only 45 seconds. Now, where is my image? There you go. It looks, in my opinion, much better. A large size JPEG, if you look at it, it's 13 megabyte of image size. So that's not pretty bad actually. And the image looks much more realistic in my opinion. And it's a beautiful image. I love it. I love it really well. I think this image is printable and you can easily post it in Instagram or Flickr, wherever you like. But the idea is that to show you how does it work, the DXO Photolab, those who are new to it and those who just want to have a refresher. Hope you like this video. Take care of yourself and bye-bye.
All right, before we start this video, first of all, I would like to say that I speak and explain things very slowly. And that might be a problematic for you if you're looking for a video that is very fast paced. But in my point of view, it doesn't really work because, when I have to explain the tools and the techniques, you can, catch the explanation and understand the explanation very well when somebody speaks very slowly. That's just my point of view. However, we can go down in the tool of your video and then speed it up to make the video even faster if you like. Second, it's always useful to come back to the video whenever necessary because you might forget what I just explained. And in order to revisit the video, make sure that you save the video for future reference. And third, go down in the description below and then click on the link in order to download the software. Unless you already have the software, that's fine. But if you don't have it, go down in the description below and then click the link in order to download the software to try it out by yourself. Best way to learn anything. And then if you like, I'm more than happy to provide you the raw photo that I'm using for this video so that you can practice it on your own. And that way, you will never forget any tools and you can actually learn a lot faster. Now, let's jump into the video. Enjoy photography.